Hi, I'm Kaila Henry, and I'm a realtor in Bozeman, Montana with Realty One Group Peak.
I'm Kathy Zaleski. I'm also a realtor with Realty One Group Peak in Bozeman, Montana.
So today we thought we would start with a video. A question we get asked a lot, or I've seen out there on the internet a lot, is what are some hidden costs of buying a home? And so I'll say that this video is maybe primarily geared toward first-time home buyers, or if you haven't bought a home in a long time, maybe you want to watch it as well. But just kind of trying to help a first-time home buyer or a home buyer understand what are maybe some of the costs associated with purchasing and closing on a home. In Bozeman. So I think some things to first off keep in mind. We're not factoring in, let's say, personal things. So maybe you want to buy all new furniture or dishes or bedding, stuff like that. We're not going to talk about that because that to me is a very individual thing. Maybe you have furniture you're moving over, maybe you don't. But what we want to kind of tell you is things on our side of the table.
Right. So I think some of the things that you're out, if you're a first time home buyer and you're looking at a home and okay, it's 250,000 and I'm approved for 300,000. This will be great. I know what my monthly payment is. The lender will tell you what your closing costs are because those are particular to the loan product that you're using, your credit score, whether you're buying down points or not. So while that should not be a surprise, mm-hmm. That should not be a hidden sneak up on you cost. Bundled into that will be, generally speaking, there's an HOA, the lender will, into your closing costs, will add in maybe 6 months in advance of HOA. Well, okay, that's great, but don't forget that in 6 months you're going to start paying that HOA fee. So if that's $200 a month, that's something that you want to plan on. You don't mm-hmm. want that part sneaking up on you. Mm-hmm. Same is true with homeowners insurance. A lot of lenders will require that when you're as a result of the type of loan that you're and the money that you're borrowing, that you would pay 6 months of homeowners insurance in advance. Well, that can get wrapped into your closing costs. Don't forget, you have to pay for homeowners insurance 6 months from now.
And I'm going to say a lot of times, but it definitely depends again on your loan product. Your homeowner's insurance might be escrowed. So it's not money that you have to save out of your paycheck, so to speak. Your mortgage payments will fund that account. Definitely something to understand when you're talking with your loan officer about what type of loan product you're closing on.
Right. One thing that can vary greatly, especially in Montana, depending on where the property is that you're purchasing, insurance. Homeowners insurance can get really ungodly expensive mm-hmm. depending on where the home is.
Floodplain, wildfire insurance, historic home insurance. So we are recently starting to see that insurance companies are being very touchy about knob and tube wiring. My understanding, I am not an insurance broker. Please keep that in mind. Mm-hmm. But I'm starting to hear that insurance companies have officially declared knob and tube wiring as past its life expectancy. It is no longer an acceptable way to light a home. And so they won't insure homes with knob and tube wiring, or they will require someone to replace all the knob and tube wiring within 6 months, a year, some sort of time frame.
Right.
So just look into insurance. Never too early to do that if you've
right.
identified a home and are under contract on it.
Right. And be prepared. If your dream is to live up Bridger Canyon, that could be a difficulty in terms of getting homeowners insurance. So, and of course, if you're paying cash for the property, maybe not a big deal, but if you're getting a loan for the property, the lender is going to want you to insure the property to the degree that they ask. So that could be a hidden cost.
Yeah.
That could be something that might sneak up on you that you weren't ready for that to be really uber expensive.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And we're trying to kind of break this into hidden costs of buying a home and hidden costs of owning a home, but they are a little bit intermingled, right? Yeah. It's hard to draw a distinct line. So definitely these are all things to me you want to be looking into and understanding as part of our due diligence or our inspection period, but keeping in mind that this will then, of course, carry into the life of your home.
Right. And things like insurance and its availability could change.
Yes. Great point.
Yeah. So if a couple of specific things, if you're looking at new construction and you think, okay, great, I'm buying this single family home for $450,000 and it's brand new, so I shouldn't have to worry about anything. Let's say that they've included front yard landscaping. Well, do you want just mud in your backyard? Probably not. So
Landscaping can be,
Uber
you know,
expensive.
very expensive. You know, you often don't understand or have an appreciation for how costly that can be quickly. Keeping in mind that a lot of homeowners associations and neighborhoods will have requirements to what that landscaping has to look like or what kind of elements you're allowed to put there. So not as easy as I'll just throw some grass seed out and let nature do its thing. There can be rules to
Rarely.
how it looks.
Yeah.
So again, keeping that in mind if you are looking at those new construction homes, landscaping and fencing. Fencing's a really big deal as well. If you have a dog or anything, again, just that standard cedar plank fencing is shockingly expensive.
Yeah. Even if you get it from Home Depot and put it up, which your HOA might not like that. They might want you to get something different. So it can get expensive, and you might not have a lot of choice. I was going to say as well, like, a lot of times maybe the HOA requires a certain amount of xeriscape.
Exactly.
Well, okay, great. So now you don't need
Rocks.
to plant, right, are expensive.
Shrubs.
And somebody's got to move them to your backyard, like even if they leave them in the street, and you probably have to do it in a certain number of days and blah, blah, blah. So are you going to do it? Are you going to take off work? Are you going to pay somebody to do it? Might be a hidden cost.
Yes. Just something, again, not deterring anybody from new construction, but these are things that I'm always talking about with clients when we're touring homes. Blinds. New construction homes in our area very rarely comes with blinds.
Right.
So
Unless you want to expose yourself to your
lovely
neighbors.
blinds. But they are, again, shockingly expensive. I think I have, very standard townhome. We don't have a ton of windows. We have some nice big ones. It was around $8,000 for us to have, I'm going to say, 4 blinds put up. Again, they were big. We did do a blackout curtain in our master bedroom, but
It's expensive.
and we didn't do anything too fancy. I like top down, bottom up, pretty standard.
Yeah.
But money very well spent. I'm very happy to have those, but just we want to account for those things.
Right. And I think that is, you buy the new home. If you're also then a first time home buyer, like, okay, you're doing, probably bedding, dishes, garbage cans, everything. And so when all of a sudden you go, wait, I got to spend $15,000 on my yard. I wasn't prepared for that. And that would be like
Well,
seed.
And it can make or break. I mean, it can be a really big thing. Underground sprinklers, does it have that? That's
Right.
a whole nother level of costs. And again, not saying this to discourage or overwhelm anyone. We mostly just want to help kind of get your mind thinking about what are
budget.
some of those things that could be coming up if you are considering these types of properties.
Yeah.
I think ready to maybe pivot to some mountain properties, let's say, or some
Right.
more rural properties, or even maybe in-town properties, depending. But snow removal and snow maintenance. So if you are buying, an awesome home up in the mountains, how is your road maintained? Are you responsible for maintaining that dirt road and plowing it in the winter so you have access? Is that part of your homeowners association? Do you just split that with neighbors on a handshake agreement? What are the terms for how you get access and who is helping maintain that?
Right. Or if you're in town, do you have a snowblower? Or are you super healthy? Because the snow here is heavy and wet. And so snowblower is great. Do you have one? Are you going to buy a used one? Is somebody going to gift it to you? Because they can be a couple $1,000s, I imagine, depending on what you're going to do. I would say just another thing to put on the list. If you've got a yard, the sprinkler system blowout. You don't want your whole sprinkler system to freeze.
That is an annual expense. So everybody with underground sprinklers, make sure you're calling somebody or having somebody blow out those sprinklers once a year so that the system functions well. We've had some sellers who didn't do that until January when we listed their home. Fortunately, their sprinkler system was still working because we had a very mild winter last winter. But
terrible. I would also say that sometimes once you become a homeowner, that you don't plan on what you're going to spend on, like, your house decorations. Flowers in the spring, I easily spend $300 on flowers in the spring, or Christmas trees, Christmas lights, Christmas wreaths, Christmas garland, whatever.
And none of that is
Holiday.
mandatory, right? So
Right.
none of that stuff is mandatory. But again, I think being very realistic with lifestyle and maybe how you want to present, right? So maybe you do end up going with maybe a less expensive home, knowing you do want to have a budget for those things. Or vice versa. You say, I don't really care about decorating for all the holidays. I'm happy to just have a really nice home that is pretty plain.
Right.
Or whatever.
Right. And that's totally okay. But if you're not that kind of person and you been longing for home ownership and you
Exactly.
just want to decorate,
Yeah.
well, it gets spendy.
And it brings a lot of joy.
Yeah,
I think,
exactly.
for some people. So,
we also talked about just maintenance. So if you are a first-time homeowner, all of a sudden you're responsible for anything that breaks. And that goes for appliances and toilets or anything that leaks. And hey, you know what? I'm going to tell you right now, hopefully you're watching us on YouTube. And YouTube's a great way to figure out how to fix some of this stuff yourself. But that will be your responsibility. There's no landlord to call to come and, why is my toilet leaking or whatever.
And some DIY fixes are great, but I would very much be caution. I've seen a lot of home inspections
Know
where
your limits.
Know your limits. Thank you. I've seen a lot of home inspections where someone thought they fixed a problem. They in fact did not, and there was sewage seeping into the subfloor or water leaking into walls because it was not handled properly. So know your limits, right? Don't be afraid to look into. It's kind of fun trying to work on your home. Other times it's very well worth paying for a handyman or a professional to come in and do it right.
Right, to put in a new toilet or something like that.
Yep, we just had to do that. So our home's 5 years old, and for some reason, one of our toilets stopped working.
New toilet.
5 years doesn't seem like a very long lifespan for a toilet in my book, but
It's
it
what
is
happens.
what it is.
So Kayla, a toilet's like $200 from Home Depot, but you ended up paying.
We spent $450 to have a handyman install it. That was money well worth it to me because I did not want to spend hours on YouTube trying to figure out. I didn't want to have to figure out how to unbolt my toilet or what to do with the water and draining. I was very happy to leave my home and come home to a new toilet.
Right.
Well, I was hard at work.
Right, which is your option, but anyway, those are just things to remember, like, if you have a really fancy, you buy a home that's got a really fancy, like, induction stove. Okay, if that breaks, do you know how to fix it? And not only, like, okay, if you're willing to call a repair guy, great, but is there one even in Bozeman?
Yeah.
Availability for some of this stuff is, if it's a really unique appliance, you might not be able to find anybody to fix it.
And you were telling me about your water filtration system, Kathy. Yeah. So it's awesome. I mean, it would be seemingly, again, on the surface, it'd be great to buy a home that has a fancy water softener system or water filtration system. But keeping in mind what is the maintenance of those items so that it's usable and works. So,
right.
I mean,
and what does it cost? Like the filters that we have are quite costly. I think there's 3 filters and they're like $200 a piece.
Yeah.
And we should probably only have to change them every 6 months, but hey, that's $600. It could be a car payment.
Yeah.
So the kind of important things to remember. I think one thing that we should definitely mention is that taxes here in Gallatin County went up substantially. In some cases, nearly doubled. And so that would be a surprise that we can't necessarily predict, but that would change if your taxes are escrowed into your mortgage, suddenly your mortgage payment is going to change substantially as well. So that's just something to kind of think about, to always give yourself a little buffer. It's going to be something you're going to have to handle. The mortgage company will just change your mortgage amount to reflect the taxes.
Well, and another thing to me too, we're kind of getting a little off track, but I do want to say it here just because it's a good segue. Really good time to, when you're purchasing your home, make sure you're talking with your lender and understanding what mortgage product are you signing up for. So are your taxes escrowed? Again, what goes into that monthly payment, and what items can change and what can't. So most of a mortgage term, there'll be fixed things that cannot change and then things that can change. And again, can very much depend on whether you're doing conventional, FHA, a jumbo loan, or even something like an ARM, right?
And whether you're buying single family or into a townhome or a condo or something like
Yep.
that. So those association fees will likely change.
Yeah, and so just kind of having a good understanding of how much fluctuation there may be in your payment, and making sure that you're comfortable with that, because, and again, can't predict everything, but at least having a good understanding for yourself.
Yeah.
Of where things are.
Yeah.
Gosh, I think that's all that's running through my mind, and I think that's everything on our list.
The biggest thing about this video is just, we're not trying to scare anybody, but you do need to buy a home and arrange financially that is you're comfortable and that you will have the ability to deal with some of these eventualities.
To have a little give and take.
Right. And we're not just talking about, like acts of God accidents, because a lot of times that'll be covered by your insurance. But the fact that your insurance could go up because
after you've filed a claim.
Right. Or, the taxes increase, or that you get a special assessment. Now, these are things very common. I mean, common in an HOA and or like in a townhome or condo association where suddenly there's a special assessment because they're going to put new roofs on the whole thing, right? Okay, well, you don't get to just not pay that. The
to
city
me, it's
can
just
go ahead.
part of being a homeowner is understanding that there are these things. Yep, some things are definitely in your control, but there's a lot of things outside of your control in homeownership, and that
Right.
you do kind of need to be prepared to be along for the ride. Sometimes you can dispute, your taxes doubling if you really do feel like there's data to show that your home is not worth what they've assessed it at. But if your home has doubled in value, like a lot of homes did around here,
The county
you
wants
have to
more
pay
money.
them.
Yeah, yeah. I think that like even let's say you're buying in Bozeman city limits, there could be a special assessment for new curb and gutter or new roadway or whatever.
Boulevard trees is a frequent one. And again, sometimes those are, $100, $130 per household, so nothing too huge. But again, just understanding that to me is just part of home ownership, not
Right.
anything you can prevent or, even shy away from unless maybe you're living way out by yourself on a ranch or in a very more rural property. And if some of those things, if that just sounds terrible to you, then maybe renting's a better idea.
Right.
Well, and I say that because we want people to be happy with what they purchase.
Right, and
I
not
don't ever want to
a
just
slave to their home.
Yes.
I think, and the special assessment, usually that stuff is spread over like a year. So it might, or more, depending on how big it is, but they do try and spread that
Yeah.
out. So you're not like getting a bill for $10,000
Yeah.
that you got to figure out all on your own.
Yeah, that's a great
away.
point.
But if your numbers are really tight, certain kinds of home ownership might not be the best because those costs tend to change and generally go up, not down. So it might be better for you to be in a type of situation where you have more control over the costs long term. So
Yeah. If you have any specific questions or questions on what it would look like purchasing a place, please feel free to reach out to either Kathy or myself. Our
Yep.
contact info is all over the place.
And if you have any questions that you want to put in the comments, we're looking at the comments all the time. So please don't hesitate to do that, and we can get back to you that way as well.
Yep. Thanks for watching. We'll
Thanks.
see you soon.
Have a great day.